Hi all my beautiful, wonderful people. My name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel where I post bookish, journaling, and K-pop videos. But hello, hi. Today we are doing the In Your Wildest Book Dreams tag. Made from Ever Books or Made from Ever Manga tagged me in it, but she tagged me in it on her book account and I was so excited. This is the first time I've ever been tagged in like a YouTube book, like a YouTube tag kind of thing. I don't know, it just made me really excited. Yeah, so thank you, May, for tagging me in this. So we will be answering the questions, and it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I'm fairly new to the book community, so it's really exciting to have like my first book tag that I was actually like tagged in and not just like I'm just doing just to do. I don't know, I'm very excited about it if you can't tell. But also, with that being said, this is very helpful because I did not have a video for today when this goes up, so I'm glad that Maeve tagged me so I have a video to go up. Ignore my plain walls and bookshelves behind me in the process of moving, so a lot of things are getting got, obviously. So yeah, but without further ado, we're gonna answer question 1. Oh, and one last thing, I will say that this tag was created by Heather Reeds, and I will tag her in the description box down below, and I will put the questions in there in the description box also if you are interested in doing this. So question number 1 is your fantasy time and place to read a book. I would say my fantasy time to read a book would be just like whenever I feel like it, I just want to be able to like pick up a book if I want to, like whether that is at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, with no other responsibilities or obligations in between. Just if I want to read, I'm reading. Fantasy place. Okay, I in my head have this like dream like library book setup location that I would love to have one day, with a big beautiful window with lots of natural light and like the stereotypical like window seat and tons of books around me. Like that would be the dream like cozy nook, reading nook for me, or even just like a space where I can sit outside and read for long hours that is, you know, shaded so I don't burn to a crisp and die. But like outside, lots of natural light, very cozy, very fun. That's more like the spring summer version. And then in the winter, I just want somewhere where I can lay under like 1,000 blankets and then have my cup of tea and never move. That's the vibes. Those are the vibes. And so question number 2 kind of plays into that, and that is your fantasy personal library. I would want that space with like a lot of natural lighting, good seating, so I can just potato and read my books. But if we think about like the actual books in the bookshelves themselves, I want a space where all my books are specifically curated to be like my favorites. I would like a shelf or 2 of TBR books, but not like a ton of TBR books, if that makes sense. So like a little bit of a TBR section, so I have some variety, some choices to choose from. But the TBR is like flexible and moving and being pushed out. But some like specific things I've always really dreamed of. So I want my Kristen Kishore shelf. I will always have Kristen Kishore books. I will always have a space for her. I want like that shelf, obviously. And hopefully in the future, I will have shelves for my other favorite authors. Currently, I really want like Elizabeth Acevedo shelf. I think that would be so cool. And then some like sub like genres I would want in there would be like kind of like my sea pirate mermaid books that I always talk about. I would love a shelf just like full of those types of books, as well as like a ghost section, like a cozy, ghosty, non-horror-y ghost book section. So like just like my favorite little niches, like having their own sections splunged about, and then like just like other books that I really like, but only things that I really enjoy. I don't want to just keep anything. And I've gotten a lot better about just unhauling things that I don't enjoy, because like I would rather have something else in its place. And question number 3 is, imagine you have decided to build a bookshop. What would you call it? Would it sell new or used or secondhand books? Would it sell anything else? What features would you want in that shop? Okay, so this is actually something I've thought about a lot. We do not have a lot of local bookstores in my area. We actually have one actual bookshop, like local bookshop, and then the rest of them, we have like two like comic shops, which is pretty cool considering like I feel like comics are a little bit more niche than books. But I've always thought about like what my like bookstore would be if I could make one in like the city that I live in. I even picked out a building for it that's been vacant for many years. But anyway, so essentially what I would want to do is I would want to sell mainly secondhand books, maybe some new books, but mainly secondhand books, so that way they're cheaper and more accessible to people. That would be something that I wanted to focus on, is accessibility and diversity. I want people to be able to read stories that they normally can't find somewhere else, that make them feel seen and make them feel safe to come into said bookstore. So that would be something that's very important to me. And we don't have a lot of what I would call third spaces here. I learned the term third space when I was working at Starbucks, and I really became obsessed with this idea. And so maybe my bookshop would be named something along that line, or through that mentality of like this safe place for people to go. I would want a cafe there so you could hang out, chill. I would hope be able to serve some maybe local things. So like maybe if we offer honey with the tea, we can offer local honey and things of that nature. I think that would be really cool. And I would just want it to be kind of open late as well, because we don't have a lot of options for people to go late at night, especially people that are studying. And we have a college here where I live. I mean, I work for it, so like I think it's weird that we don't have a lot of places that are open later at night for those college kids that maybe want to do something later, maybe want to hang out with friends and stuff, but also don't want to be like out at bars or like doing that sort of thing. So I think it would be fun to have it like, I'm not 24 hours, because that's a little, especially for a bookstore, I feel like that's a little ridiculous, but like open like longer hours, if that makes sense. I've thought about this a lot, if you can't tell. I would want an around the world section too. Like I've thought about this, where like there are shelves for each continent, and each continent has like so there's a bookshelf for each continent, and then each shelf is different countries within that continent. So that way you can, like, if you're like, oh, I want to read something from Africa, I've never read anything from Zimbabwe, you could go to like the continent shelf, Africa, and then you could go to the actual specific shelf that had like books from Zimbabwe on it. I think that would be so cool. Anyway, that, as you can tell, I probably thought about this like specific question way too much. Question number 4 is one person not a booktube creator with whom you have a good conversation about books with. And if you don't have a person like that, who do you know that you wish would become a reader so that you could talk books with them? So for me, actually me and my partner met at a bookstore, and so we talk books all the time. Even though we don't have exactly like the same reading taste, we still talk books a lot, and it's really fun. I really enjoy it. Obviously, like I said, I met him at a bookstore. Working at a bookstore is how we met and got together. So yeah, I would say him for one. And then the OG, the number one person that I've always talked books with my entire life is my mother. My mom has been a avid reader her entire life. She got me and my brother to be avid readers our entire life. Literally, I kid you not, like we would go visit family in California, and it was a tradition that we'd always go to Barnes and Noble before we went to Cali, so we could all have a book to read on the plane. And by the time we got back from California, those books would have been read for the most part. At least I know mine were. That's where I got Bitter Blue, actually. Well, I read Bitter Blue on the trip. I didn't actually buy Bitter Blue for the trip. Anyway, not the point. But yeah, so my mom and me talk a lot. She is mainly a fantasy reader and an adult fantasy reader. I have not really ventured into the adult fantasy world. I should. It's been beyond time, I feel like, and she probably agrees, for me to like have adventured into the adult fantasy world, but I'm just scared of it. To be completely honest, I'm just scared. Those books be chunky, so chunky, and I suffer from the shiny book syndrome. Like I already start, like I'm pretty sure on Storygraph right now, Storygraph says I'm in the middle of like 4 books right now, and like that's good for me. Like at one point we're not even 6 months into the year yet, but I'm pretty sure at one point I had 8 books that Storygraph was saying I was currently reading, and I had to go through and like be like, no, I'm not reading this right now. No, I'm not reading this right now. Like, I just had to be realistic with myself. And so like the thought of like picking up a chunky book for like the adult fantasy like really freaks me out, because I'm like, shiny book syndrome. Like, I'm gonna try to start reading this and then I'm gonna get like 150 pages in, and then I'm gonna forget everything because I started reading other books, and then I'm gonna have to start over, and it's gonna be this endless cycle, and I just haven't done it. Okay, there we go. There's my adult fantasy I'm scared of it rant. Question number 5 is, if you won $1 million and you could only spend it on books or book related items, how would you spend it? If I got $1 million today to get book or book related items, could I put that towards like buying a house with the dream library setup? Like, where I could possibly make the dream library setup? Because that would be freaking y'all, that'd be so cool. Literally, one of my biggest dreams in life is to own my own house that I can like, and like, just, I don't want to pick a house just to own the house so I don't have to rent anymore. That's not the goal. The goal is to find my house, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And so like $1 million to put towards that, like, say less. And I don't think the house that I would want would be over $1 million, but I would definitely use the rest of that money to curate that space and like the house as a whole. So like getting the nice bookshelves to put in that like book area, building the like window bench, and like the cozy reading space, and like a coffee bar. Oh, a coffee bar with an espresso machine. It sounds so nice. So that's what I would do with my $1 million. I would curate the space. I recently was doing, since my journal's right here, I recently watched this creator's video. I can't remember their channel name. I found them on a whim randomly one day. They were talking about how when they were getting into journaling, everybody kept being like, know your values to decide how you go through life. And they were like, and I realized I had never actually thought about like what my values are or what values are. And they said that they did this like practice where they found this thing, and I did it too, obviously. They found this thing with a whole bunch of values on it, and they went through and they ranked them. And I realized one of my top values, like my #1 value, is environment. And what that word means to me in terms of a value is having safe, nice, welcoming, open, bright spaces where you feel like you can be your authentic and open, like pure self. And so like that is why that's such a big thing for me. And I just the thought of it just makes me so excited and so happy, and it makes sense why this apartment is no longer working for me and is like killing me slowly inside, just like, because like that environment is not environmenting. That makes sense. And the last question is, tag some people. I don't really talk to a lot of bookish creators. I'm still very new to the bookish creating space with my channel. Like, I've watched it for many years, but I've always been that person that like watches and like snoops but never actually like comments. You would think that would have changed because like me commenting on one of Maeve's like videos on Instagram was like such a rare thing for me, and so like I was so excited that she commented back and that we've been talking. It's been great. But I guess I'll just put in some random like people that I've been enjoying watching recently, and if they do the tag, they do the tag. If they don't, I'm not gonna take it personally, obviously. So I'm gonna tag book chats with Shelly. I found her channel recently and I thought it was very fun, and I enjoy her channel a lot. I really enjoy all her chats, book chats and non-book chats. I like when she talks. I like when she talks to the camera. I think she's really fun. I think she's well articulate. I love listening to her and her thoughts and her ideas. I think it's so cool. And then the other creator I've been watching a lot recently is Four Paws in a Book. Yeah, I think that's right. I started watching her literally like 2 days ago, and I've been binging all of her content because she's been making bookish content for a long time. She actually just posted about the fact that she read her 1,000th book since starting YouTube, and I thought that was so cool because, like, you know, like that's my whole reading challenge for myself, is to be able, like, I'm basically started from zero and now I am trying to get to my 1,000 book, and I think that's so cool because, like, it's similar to what I'm doing. I don't know, I thought it was really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna tag the two of them again. Like I said, if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. I doubt they'll see little me in my little video, but if they do, I just know I'll probably cry and freak out. Anyway, that's all for me. Quick little video. Thank you again, May, for tagging me so I could do this and feel like an official, like, part of the booktube YouTuber community. I feel so official. But anyway, bye guys. Thank you. But yeah, anyway, bye. Thank you for watching, and until the next video, I hope you guys stay happy, stay healthy, and keep collecting, or actually keep reading in this video. Bye.